Here are the biggest mistakes virtual assistants make when applying for jobs at my company. These are the types of mistakes that will cause a business owner like me to immediately delete the application and move on to the next profile. That's why if you want the best chance at being hired, you don't want to make these mistakes. And at the end of this video, I'll even show you how to make a professional introduction video using just your smartphone. Now you have to remember that employers receive hundreds of applications for a single job posting. Realistically, there's no way we can review them all. So what we do is we look for ways to eliminate many of the applications and then only review the handful that are left. So as long as you don't make these mistakes, you will already be 90% ahead of all other job seekers. Mistake number 1, not reading the job description carefully. One of the tricks that employers on online job portals do is bury an instruction within the job description to see whether the applicant has read it or not. For example, the job description might say, write purple in the subject line of your email. That way, if an employer receives an application from a job seeker that does not include this word, they immediately know one of two things. First, the job seeker did not read the job description at all and just blindly applied for the job. Or the job seeker did read the job description but did not read it carefully. A big part of working with virtual assistants is communicating via email and chat. Therefore, attention to detail is extremely important. What the employer wants is to be able to send an email with 5 tasks and then know that the virtual assistant will complete the 5 tasks. An easy way to test whether the job seeker is paying attention to detail is to see if they followed all the instructions in a job posting. Because if they don't, then there's a good chance they won't follow all the instructions in an email or an instant message after they are hired. Now here's a bonus tip. Repeat the keywords from the job description in your application. That way the employer knows you read the job description and tailored your cover letter, and you don't have to do that much. Just sprinkle a few keywords from the posting in your cover letter, and that's enough. Mistake 2, having a boring resume. We're humans too. We get bored, we get distracted. You want your resume to give the employer a reason to stay engaged, not a reason to lose interest. Think about many of the jobs that virtual assistants are hired for. It definitely will require you to present information in a clear, interesting, and easy to understand manner. Black and white resumes made sense when they were printed on paper and handed in person, but they don't make sense in the digital age of Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Add some color to it. Use a clever layout. Put a photo of yourself smiling while looking up from your laptop while working in a coffee shop. Remember, your resume is your first impression to an employer. So if you're fun, energetic, and creative, let your resume show it. If you're an accomplished professional, let your resume show it. Use design to communicate what words don't always say. Now here's a tip. If you do add a photo, I suggest not using your graduation photo. I know that it may be one of the very few professionally taken photos you may have, but think about it from the employer's perspective. If you look like a student or a fresh graduate, you will give them the impression that you are a student or a fresh graduate. You don't want that. You want employers to see you as a working professional, so present yourself as one. Mistake number 3, not showcasing relevant skills and experience. For example, if you're applying for a virtual assistant role that requires project management skills, be sure to highlight your experience in that area. Don't make us have to hunt for it. Remember, it's your responsibility to showcase to me why you are the right candidate for the role. The better you do this, the higher your chances of being selected for the role. Now here's my tip. I suggest having a few different versions of your resume. The information can be the same, but the order of the information can be different. Depending on the job you are applying for, you can submit the resume that best highlights your skills for that role. Mistake number 4, not testing your links. You should regularly check your links, portfolio website, and any other online media you submit to an employer to make sure they still work. I've received links to resumes that either don't work, require me to log into a website, or are password protected. Always test your links in a private browser window to make sure they will work for the employer. And if you have a portfolio website, make sure you fill it in completely. I've seen many portfolio websites built on a template where only part of the website worked. It's better to have a simpler portfolio website where everything works rather than a more complex website which only partially works. And if your portfolio features links to past clients, make sure you test those links regularly. As you know, many of the companies that hire virtual assistants are startups, and they do often go out of business. I've seen many times where links in a portfolio don't work because that past client has closed their Instagram account or deleted their website. So these links should be removed from your portfolio. Mistake number 5, not answering questions in detail. Sometimes I'll send a job seeker an email with some questions. Recognize that if an employer does this, they are taking an interest in you and want to learn more about you. So make sure you give them the information that they're looking for. And more importantly, try and anticipate what they're trying to achieve. Ignoring an employer's questions or failing to answer it clearly is going to get your application rejected. For example, if I email a job seeker and ask, "Do you use Telegram?" a job seeker could reply no. While that may be factually true, if the job seeker spent a moment to think about why I'm asking them this question, they might reply instead with, "No, I don't, but I am on WhatsApp. However, if you'd like to connect via Telegram, I'd be more than happy to create an account. Let me know your username and I will reach out to you." Do you see the difference? Mistake number 6, spelling and grammatical errors. This is by far the most common yet most avoidable mistake. The moment I see a spelling mistake, I immediately discard the application. Now that may seem harsh, but with all the free tools that are available on computers today, there's simply no excuse for spelling and grammatical mistakes. If you show employers that you are allowing typos, grammatical errors, and inconsistent formatting to exist on your cover letter and your resume, then you are telling them that you will allow it to exist in the work you create for them. Mistake number 7, not having the right equipment. So part of being a virtual assistant is being ready to communicate via the internet. This includes email, instant messengers like WhatsApp and Telegram, phone calls, and video meetings. Look, every trade has its tools. If you want to be a chef, you need knives and pans. If you want to be a painter, you need brushes, paint, and canvas. So you need to be prepared to be in business. Likewise, if you want to be a virtual assistant, you need to have the right computer equipment. You should have a webcam, and you must have a good mic or headset. You should also have a fast and reliable internet connection. When working remotely, your employer is going to want to have an audio or video call with you. Maybe not every day, but there will be calls. And it's your responsibility to make sure you have the equipment ready and it's working properly. For example, I had one virtual assistant working for me, an excellent employee, very good employee. But the mic on her laptop was damaged. When we would have any type of video call, I could barely hear her. This was really frustrating for me, extremely frustrating. Eventually, I asked her to get a headset, but it wasn't like she got it the next day. It took time, and I had to keep asking her to get a headset. This is not something you should do. If you know the mic in your laptop is damaged, get it fixed or get a headset before you starting applying for jobs. Don't make it frustrating for an employer to be able to communicate with you. If you can, try and set up an area in your home where you can work quietly. I know for some of you this will be hard, but just imagine if you're having a call with an employer and in the background is the noise of a TV or a child screaming or dishes banging. During one of my calls with a virtual assistant, I could hear chickens in the background. Now that's fine, I suppose. However, my advice would be to close the doors and windows before the call. Remember, you want to try and be as professional as possible. If you are working from your room or your house, that's okay. Just make sure you've tidied it up and it's not a mess. Present yourself and your environment in the best way possible. Mistake number 8, not being honest. Look, it's important to always be honest. Don't try and pull a fast one on an employer. You will get caught and it will likely cost you a job. And you should also be honest with yourself. If you're applying for a job that you are not able to do, either because you don't have the skills or the working hours are not compatible with your schedule, then don't apply for it. There is no point wasting your time and an employer's time. Yes, I know you really want a job, but you must get the right job that matches your skill set and lifestyle. For example, I interviewed a virtual assistant once. It was a part-time job, and the working hours were from Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. This was clearly mentioned in the job posting. During the video interview, I even repeated the working hours were 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and that he had to be online and contactable during those hours. He confirmed he understood, and I hired him. The next day when he started, everything was going well until about 12:20 p.m. when suddenly he stopped replying my Telegram messages. I eventually called him at 12:45 p.m. and I was shocked. when he answered his phone and in the background I could hear that he was driving. It turns out that he had to pick up his son from school every day at 1 p.m. and that he had to actually leave his house at 12:30 p.m. every day to reach the school on time. Now don't misunderstand. I have no problem with any parent that needs to pick up their child from school. That's fine. It's a very good thing. However, my issue was that he was not upfront and honest about it. Had he told me during the interview that he needed to end work at 12:30 p.m. instead of 1 p.m. every day, we could have worked something out. Maybe he could have started half an hour earlier. Instead, he chose to try and pull a fast one on me, thinking that I would not find out. Needless to say, I had to fire him because I can't work with somebody that I can't trust. And think about it. If it's already hard to find a job, imagine how much harder it will be if you have a negative review on your online jobs profile. So it is not worth it. Always be honest. Mistake number 9, not following up after submitting an application. Following up with potential employers shows your continued interest in the position. However, many applicants fail to follow up, which can make them seem disinterested or forgettable. When a job seeker follows up, the employer will automatically know that this person is genuinely interested in the job, and sometimes they'll even give their resume a second look. So now you know the top 9 mistakes that virtual assistants make during job applications. So make sure you don't make them. I want to see you succeed, which is why I made this video. Let me know in the comments below if you found this advice useful. You can also ask me any questions or suggest ideas for future videos that you want me to make. If you follow my advice, I guarantee you that your job search will be much more successful. Now, one way to make a great first impression is to include an introduction video in your job application. You can record a video introduction using your phone, but as you can hear, there's an echo. The audio quality isn't very good.
But what if you could make it sound like this? Now, this is a professional sounding video. This is a studio quality voice. This audio sounds amazing. It's very easy and clear for the employer to hear.
If you want to know how to record it and what you should mention, watch my next video. I'll see you there.